robot, they think of two things: the dance and the big hunks of metal that scream beep boop beep. Over the past 4 years of high school, I've spent several hours in the metal shop and robotics room. I found this to be my niche, and I really enjoy working on small projects that are presented, whether it's electronics or designing. It is a really good break for the mind, mainly because this stretch of school from winter break to spring break seems to drag by. It's also something to take my mind off of school because, it's really boring. Sorry. In the beginning, when I was a freshman, my mom was really pushing me to go for robotics. I thought, gee, why would I do that? That sounds really nerdy. But I always had an interest in science and math, and this is something that you can apply to it, which I find really cool. Instead of just sitting in a classroom learning, you can actually learn with a bunch of tools. When I first started, I gave in to her because it took her 2 weeks probably to get me to go. I was just observing most of the time because I really didn't know what was going on. I was kind of just a fly on the wall and just noticing everyone and how they function. And they filter out basically by themselves. And we went to the competition, and it was really cool just to see everyone's design because you have your own ideas and you get to make that to reality. And just because you have this idea and you get to make it just seems really cool to me. After the competition, I met a lot of people that had like different interests and stuff. And I learned that it's not just a bunch of nerds, it's a bunch of people that work on machines and design stuff by themselves. This past year, I had a really big interest in it, and I went to look at schools for engineering and stuff like that. And I actually received a job from Custom Products, which is an engineering apprenticeship, which actually trains you the daily life and the skills that you'll take with you to college of the daily life of an engineer. I learned lots of things from that so far and continue to every day. I also worked alongside Tyler Sangren. He trained me for most of it, and a lot of that time we spent designing the robot, which is really cool because you have this computer and you get to make an animation of it and see how it works on the computer before you actually make it. So you don't waste your time making something that's just going to be a bunch of trash. After we were building it, everything seemed to be going so well, and we were coasting along, and we came back from work one day, and we walked in the door, and they powered up the robot. It wasn't up on blocks, and it drove off the table. And that put us to our lowest point because we thought, well, we're screwed. What are we going to do now? But actually, we did a lot of problem shooting and found out that wasn't actually that bad. And we just had to straighten some things, and a hinge was bent out of place, but we could just go to Runnings and buy one, which is really handy. We went to competition this past year, and were really successful, which actually surprised me because I thought the robot wasn't going to work after that because it took a lot of damage. We ended up winning most of it. We finished second and received the Engineering Design Award, which is designed basically for the people who have the best robot that looks really cool. I took that to heart because I actually designed it and made it, which put me at my highest because I realized that I can do anything that pretty much anyone else can, besides people that have the money and more benefits as well. Getting this award allowed us to go to Worlds, which was in St. Louis, which had lots of different teams from all over the world, which was really interesting to see their different cultures and how they're brought up through their high school process. A lot of the kids there were your stereotypical nerds because just the way they talked and the stuff. Fidget spinners were really big there, so all you would see is just kids playing around with these things. And these kids with Rubik's Cubes would just whip their fingers around and they'd solve it super fast. Being there, we kind of noticed we were little dogs in a big pool pretty much, because the team that won it was from San Jose, and their sponsors were NASA and Google. And you could really tell that a machine shop made this, not just a bunch of high schoolers, because everything was perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. Robotics has been a major part of my life, and I continue to learn things from it every day, mainly because there's a lot of social skills and problem solving things that you'll use the rest of my life, I should say. A lot of things such as people come up and ask you about your robot and just being able to talk and just saying, no, get away from me, I don't want to talk to you. Just being open to new things and being more open-minded, because there's a lot of people that don't really listen to people's opinions, and just listening and conversing and finding out what's right just really helps me a lot. And robotics has helped me open new doors that I didn't think possible, and I can't wait to see what's next. Thanks for listening.